Damn, Gary, some serious gourmet shit. What flavor is this?
That's right, it's the all-hell medium roast private blend.
Check out the Geek Grind Coffee Nerdrotic page for our other options like the Decadent, Feathers of Liberty, vanilla-infused flavored coffee.
Or if you're looking for something darker, try the dark roast FNT blend of the Fellowship. You know what? Just buy all three. GeekGrindCoffee.com. Use discount code Nerdrotic. Huzzah!
These are daggers dropped by my men that were slaughtered by an ice troll in the second age. But I do not like to talk of such things. And for you, Legolas, this is a new bow, so that you may kill a troll as quickly as I did, in under 10 seconds. And for Samwise Gamgee, rope forged from the hair of an ice troll that I killed many years ago. And for Frodo, the bottled tears of an ice troll. Did I mention I killed an ice troll many years ago? In under 10 seconds? Fare thee well, my friends, and may these gifts forged from the body of an ice troll that I killed many years ago in the second age in under 10 seconds. Fare you well on your journey.
I learned a long time ago that there's no sense getting all riled up every time a bunch of idiots give you a hard time. In the end, the universe tends to unfold as it should. Plus, I have a really large penis. That keeps me happy.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Woke, whoa.
It looks like Chuck's taking the skin boat to Tuna Town.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
God darn it, Mr. Lamar. You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Nerdrotic.com.
You can't see us. Here we are. If you're listening at home, you have no idea. But I had the overlay on. The overlay. Welcome to a very X-ray girl-less Nerdrotic Nooner. So yeah. Won't stop me from doing that. No, X-ray girl today. She's on a hike somewhere.
That's what I saw. I've been watching.
Maybe I shouldn't say. Maybe she doesn't want people. I have no idea where she's at. Somewhere in Europe. And I'm going to beat her in Europe very soon. So we don't have a ton of time today. I was floating back and forth. Am I going to blow this one off? I got a lot of work today. And I'm like, hell no. Because Chris just asked me like 2 days ago, hey, are we doing these two things? I'm all, sure, we're great. We're no problem. And then, of course, work just piles up. I'm like, yeah, but I can't blow off my buddy Chris. Especially when you don't have a stream later today, do you? Film on the rocks?
No, we did ours
today.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing? I'm totally redoing my setup. I got a guy coming over today to help me. I will be on camera for the Nooner going forward once I sort this out.
The audience has demanded it. And they have demanded it.
Yes.
And you still have to do your cooking stream. What was that going to be called again? Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh man,
What was the title? Somebody came up with a great title for his cooking stream, and I can't remember what it was. Oh well, not important.
Cooking with Frank.
Maybe. No, it was good. It was clever. I like the clever ones.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, how are you, Chris? You doing okay?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, I'm just frustrated. My sound setup is lame, but I will be on camera with you in a future Nooner.
People will be so happy when the sound is fixed. Most important thing.
Yes. Yeah, it only took me a couple of years. So
one thing you got to watch out for that happened to me last night is like one guy will come in and say, I can't hear you. And it makes you adjust things like, you know, and it's not the guy's fault.
Right.
He probably can't hear it because it's like no, I was on OBS. It's probably the dude's phone or whatever, but I do everything exclusively over desktop. I listen to I watch more YouTube on desktops and TVs than on phone. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds fine. It sounds absolutely fine. So I don't know what that is. You want to check it out if there's like a consensus, but yeah, watch out for because I think half the time it's just people trolling, which is kind of funny. But, you know, I admire the trolling. I do. We're going to talk basically about one thing that will be talked about. Well, I'm releasing a video at 2:30 p.m. Central on this channel. It will not be about Ahsoka because I've been working on it for the last 2 days. The video after that will be the Ahsoka review. But in the meantime, I got a live stream from last night. Chris has a live stream has a live stream and a video. And it'll be talked about the rest of the week because I am very sorry to report that Star Wars is not saved.
Yeah, man. I first of all, I'm really looking forward. I am so looking forward to FNT because I hope by then Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers will have seen the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka.
I don't think he's going to watch it.
Did he say he wasn't going to watch it?
Yeah.
Oh
I tried to get him to watch. I mean, we cover pop culture. It's kind of our job.
Right.
But I mean, do what you want to do. I mean, there's stuff I, give up on because it falls into that category of it really isn't good, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just very mid. I don't like reviewing mid stuff. It's either got to be a really bad. Yeah, I have a system, believe it or not, and Ahsoka passed it with flying colors, so it will flying really flat, basic bitch colors, dude. So, tell the folks here what you thought of Ahsoka.
Well, I thought it was. First of all, here's what sucks. You need to have seen Rebels and Clone Wars for it to even mean anything or to understand what's going on or to understand the character dynamics. And I think that's the first thing going in makes it flawed. The second thing is this is a different universe. It's a her universe version of Star Wars. So everything from the costuming to the hello, General. They made it a real point to be very formal, kind of Star Wars military like, but with all women, it was very funny. That was pushed. And then there is a new Disney Star Wars trope. See, I actually like certain tropes in films. Like, James Bond has tropes. A lot of franchises have their certain tropes, Live Long and Prosper from Star Trek. They're just things that happen and you smile when they happen. Things like saying, I've got a bad feeling about this. That's in every Star Wars movie. Marvel tropes, all the men have to take their shirts off and be shirtless to show off their new Marvel bod. And Stan Lee makes a cameo. And when you start to veer away from those things, you get no Stan Lee cameos. You get no lightsabers are made to cut off people's limbs. But in Disney Star Wars, that has never happened, not once. In Disney Star Wars, I'm talking about all the things that Disney has made with Star Wars. We've got a lightsaber is a sort of a pointless weapon now. You can be stabbed with it and it doesn't matter. Although it'd be weird to say to a woman, do you mind if I stab you with my lightsaber? It might hurt a bit, but you'll live. So I thought it was just very lame. And the other thing that I miss was just things moving quickly. I mean, that second episode was 42 minutes and it plods along. And it was, we were talking before the stream, George Lucas had the best direction, faster, more intense.
Yes.
And Dave Filoni needed to say that at least a few times. Like, oh my God, so many meeting scenes. Like,
dude, how did you like the monotone dialogue? Like, hello, my name is Ahsoka Tano. Everybody talked like they were trying to be quiet and not wake up a baby, or they were in church on Sunday or at an AA meeting. I'm not really sure. There was no passion. There was nothing. It's like they were acting separately. It was bizarre. And really like pedestrian. That would be like we've talked about it before. Disney Plus, D Plus does not know how to make television. They just don't. And these are people who've made television shows. Like, you'd think if you've made a cartoon, you'd have a basic understanding of especially dialogue, you know, where we got more, like, it's not great, but the dialogue is more passionate. It seems more passionate in the kid cartoon than in this show that's supposed to be for kids and adults. And a kid will be bored to tears watching this. This is you're right. This is made for a very specific audience that's watching Barbie right now.
Yeah. It's made for kids. I mean, this is Rebels. I watched the first season and I thought, well, this is fine. It's just not for me. It's for children. It's a children's cartoon show. I felt that way I didn't feel that way about the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars, which was the hand-drawn one, you know, the 2D. Once it got to the sort of CG animation, they chose a style. And what I love is, and I know if I say this to you, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Remember the Jerry Anderson Thunderball XL5 marionette series? It's like they took those marionettes and then they CG animated them. Like it was am I wrong for the clone?
No. It's like they took the guy that you remember Aaron Brothers art store? You had the little wooden guy. You had the wooden guy that you sketched off. That's what looks like they sketched all their characters off of. You're right. It's like puppets. That's like wood. It's like they were like whittled or something. And I hated it. I remember the movie that premiered in theaters? The Clone Wars? So the Clone Wars TV show
Oh yes, I do.
Began with a movie that was terrible. It was terrible. And it had like a girl Jabba or some shit. I can't remember.
Didn't they kidnap Jabba's nephew?
Nephew, yes.
It was so stupid. It was something as dumb as that.
And I hated it. And then the show got better because the show was looked on fondly because it filled in blanks that the giant blanks that the trilogy did. So it was basically, we're going to try to fix the prequel trilogy. Because believe it or not, those weren't well received. They made money, weren't well received. Not like the original trilogy. So, but nobody ever thought it counted. Like you said, you watched Rebels and you thought, well, this is a kid show. I'm out, and that's what most people were. And I watched about half of it, basically talk about it on podcasts and stuff. And I didn't hate it, but I never thought it counted. I never thought any of this counted. This woman, Ahsoka Tano, who's just running around doing all this stuff behind the scenes. Hey, I got a question, Chris. Somebody illegally built a hyperdrive on the New Republic Carillion shipyards. Wouldn't that be a big deal? Wouldn't the New Republic send like lots of military over there?
Right.
I mean, wouldn't this be an intergalactic space incident? Like, it would be massive. It's like the Empire was secretly building a giant hyperspeed engine on our shipyards right under our nose. This might be something where you want to send everyone. But no, we got General Hera, who's there going, nothing's like classified for me because I'm like totally a general and stuff, this show was like if girls were trying to make do a military operation playing with their Barbies when they were 12. That's pretty much the military aspect of this. And then, dude, it's about Sabine. It's not about Ahsoka. The show's about Sabine.
Right.
Like, she's the main character in it. And I can't stand her. What's up with these reviews going, she was the best thing? It was kind of flat, but she was the best thing in it. I'm like, she Disney chick smirked her way through this whole fucking show. And she was just insufferable. She was it's now a trope, right? She's like your prototypical on-brand Disney girl boss. I'm so like you pointed this out. I couldn't believe it until I saw it, Chris. The punk rock music in fucking Star Wars. Oh fuck!
How dumb was that?
Get the fuck out of here. That you know what it made me think of? The Vespas and Boba Fett. It's like as cringe. So yeah, come Friday, like Mahler's gonna see. Everybody's gonna see it, and I know Az has seen it already. He said it took him 5 hours to. Forgive me, I got back from the gym. I'm still taking off my shoes. Yeah, I had lots of prep for the show today. I got here like 5 to 12. So, yeah, he said it took him like 5 hours to get through the first 30 minutes. And yeah, I had to force myself. I told the story last night, Chris, but I'm watching it on my home theater. I usually don't try to, poison my home theater with crap, but this time I did. And my son walks by, and the only thing he says is, Ahsoka should have stayed dead. Goes to bed. I'm like, yeah, son. That's a good review. That's a good review. Imagine how much better her story would be, Chris, if Darth Vader like killed her, killed his apprentice. That is like Shakespearean. That is Greek. It is great, and it would have added to Darth Vader's character. It would have made it more tragic. No. I think Dave Filoni has a life-size version of Ahsoka at his house. Fully functional.
Yeah. It's unbelievable that they've made this character that was a side character in a cartoon so important to the Star Wars universe now, that spans the prequels, the original trilogy, and I'll bet money right now, if the Rey movie does get made, Ahsoka will be in it.
I talked about that last night. She's going to totally survive this. She'll have survived the Disney trilogy. They killed 6, the Star Killer base destroyed 6 star systems, and she was just fucking off doing something else. But when Rey shows up, she'll be all, what's up? What's up, girl?
God. I'm not. So imagine, like we were talking on the FilmThreat stream. I was talking with Alan yesterday, how different the sequel trilogy would have been if Kylo Ren, in his confrontation with Rey, just chopped her arms and legs off, and then Luke shows up to fight off Kylo Ren, and Luke shows up at the end. Maybe Han Solo is mortally wounded but not dead, so he has a proper death scene, which in an act of self-sacrifice. So Han Solo can die with Luke and Leia at his side. The trio is reunited in some way, but you'd feel much more for Rey. And she, in the second movie, then gets mechanical arms and legs and is on a quest to get revenge, might turn to the dark side, whatever. We would have thought of Rey. They will not injure mortally female characters.
No.
It's stupid.
No, I mean, that's what we've been talking about. It's like, look at all the rules that Hollywood has been imposing themselves with the Oscars and then behind the scenes and then the self-editing that's going on because of all this political correctness. And you're absolutely right, Chris. They are not going to harm a woman. If they cut a woman's hand off, look at the violence to women.
It would have been great. It would have been it would have made Rey an incredibly cool character, that she's basically just chopped to bits like nothing from Kylo Ren, which would make sense since he actually has some training and she has 0. And then Luke comes in to save the day. Whatever. I just think I fucking hated The Force Awakens. And then things that happened in The Last Jedi interested me, where I'm like, all right, maybe this is what they're going to do. Luke will have a redemption arc. This is what this is about. They're setting him up as a loser to then come back to the Luke that we knew. And then that never happened. So fuck the sequel trilogy. I hated it before it was cool to hate it, I guess, is all I'm trying to say. But all I'm saying is this nonsense where, like, what is the point of a lightsaber? It's not a weapon. It's a weapon that is supposed to leave your enemies limbless. They'll only chop limbs off of robots.
It is a weapon of death. It's not for fencing. It's for killing people. It's just a more elegant way to kill people.
Oh my God, you guys were talking the best stuff on Real BBC yesterday. You're talking about how a lot of these action scenes are like dance numbers.
Yeah.
They're like dances. And that totally makes sense.
Super Chatter called it like choreographed. I'll have to go back and look, but it was like a great description. It's just, they're choreographed dance numbers. Oh, look, Az is here. Used to be a Jedi, then I took a lightsaber to the knee. Yes, you did. Thanks, Az, for being a member for 35 months. 35 months. Look at heel versus babyface. Why don't you give him a little sub, or a big sub?
I love Az.
It was a great. It looks like. It does look like music videos from like the 90s. You know, like just super over choreographed dance numbers, and Mahler brought it up. The Last Jedi one still is the worst. It looks like fucking Broadway.
Yeah,
but not good. But not good.
It's frustrating to watch because I feel like it. I mean, I don't know. I really don't care about Ahsoka, but obviously they're setting up that. I mean, this is Thrawn. If you read Heir to the Empire, are they going to do Heir to the Empire without Han, Luke, and Leia? That's what the story was supposed to be. I mean, if they do, I think it's awful. I mean, are they going to recast a young Han, Luke, and Leia, or do deep fake, or what the?
They're going to recast them. They're going to remake the original trilogy, or recast them. I mean, like, how could they not show up in this? Again, that is a major incident. You just had somebody go right to the Corellia shipyards I love how it's really easy to pick out the Imperials. It's just all the white guys.
Yeah, exactly. Not just that. The guy they cast, who was he was the official, the overseer, whatever you want to call him. He didn't look like he was out of Star Wars. He looked like a freaking accountant.
Yeah.
With that like bald head. And I'm like, do you remember what was great about the original trilogy and what, and a lot of things, they would cast really good faces. I'm talking about, and you saw this in like older films from like the 40s, 50s. You cast characters. People have character faces, right? And this is literally somebody's friend it's gotta be. I mean, and it's like, we just need a wormy accountant looking white dude who looks like, a guy you would see during tax season. That's what this guy looks like. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. You earlier on, you had the best description of it. Is like, this is just flat. It feels like what dinner theater Star Wars, Vegas theater Star Wars, like Kurtzman is doing with Kurtzman Trek. You're absolutely right. There's just something wrong with it, and my feeling is it's because they basically took the corpse to the mortician. It's been embalmed. It's got the makeup, and they propped it up, and it's good for the open casket funeral, but it's still dead. It's a zombie franchise. That's what this is, and that's exactly what it looked like. Their attempt at making their stuff look like the 80s Star Wars stuff, right to the oh my God, Hera's General Badge, Purina. Right. It was like Purina Dog Chow, or so. It's the same. It's like the same brand as like Purina Dog Chow or something like that from back in the 80s. That's what we used to call it, General Dog Chow. I can't remember. It's been so long. But they gave her that badge, and it just doesn't look right because it looks like it was 3D printed and painted pristinely when back then they were just putting shit together. They were like random stuff, trying to be as creative as they possibly could because it was an independent production.
Right.
Star Wars, the original trilogy was an independent production. This is a massive corporate product, and it looks like it, and it's dead inside.
I mean, the original Luke's lightsaber, which I have a prop reproduction, was a Graflex tube. It's basically a battery that is used to power flash bulbs for photography, and they barely modified it. It's so funny when you watch the original trilogy. It's so creative. The original Star Wars in particular. Like, this is why, like, I just look at like the way that they cast, the way they do. They don't pay attention to the little details that George Lucas used to fetishize over. And the script felt to me like it was obviously, probably not written by AI, but feels like it in the sense of like the dialogue, like, what are you doing? Where are you going? Let's get out of here. Like all those like cliches. It's, you know, it's because we're never going to, what was brilliant about the original trilogy was it was influenced by so many different things that came before it that George Lucas was aware of, whether it was Marvel comics from the 60s or whether it was Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon serials from the 1930s, or just so many things that was influenced by 2001: A Space Odyssey and just, you know, science fiction films that came before it. And Dune, it was very influenced by Dune, the original novel published in 1965. And apparently Frank Herbert wasn't too happy about a few things in Star Wars, but whatever. I'm just saying all Star Wars now is influenced by the previous Star Wars that came before it, rather than other types of influences, which is why a pop culture education or a well-rounded education, even George Lucas was very much a student of history. He loved history, and history was a big part of, so the people working on all of these things, they're just looking at Star Wars for influence rather than other things. Like anthropology, archaeology, like architecture, other things that start with
stuff
AR.
that's stuff that helped inspire things like Lord of the Rings, which also, you know,
correct,
played his part in Star Wars. Yeah, George wasn't meticulously putting together like a mythology, but he had the framework there that of an awesome mythology that did get filled in by other people and George over time. But it felt rich. Right. It felt deep. It felt like there was a lot going on. In this one, you know, the sets look fine. There's nothing wrong with the sets. They go to a couple ancient temples that look ancient and sci-fi, and it looks fine, but it doesn't really look like Star Wars. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like Star Wars because it isn't. Star Wars is dead. Star Wars is really dead. And my God, Ray Stevenson, great actor. I miss him. Rest in peace. He was probably the best thing in this, but he was just super stoic. And of course, he's being bossed around by some fucking girl boss. We're in the realm of parody. And listen, I know the explanations that they killed off all the guys from Rebels, and that's why there's only the girls left. Well, yeah, they killed off all the guys. Why did they kill off all the guys? Because the fourth is female, or Ezra's missing. Whatever, he'll be back. But doesn't make it any less cringe. It's absolutely cringe. Disney is playing right now into their own parody that they have become. They become a caricature of themselves when they were originally a caricature, if that even makes sense. But it's when something you used to take seriously just becomes shticked and a joke. Never really took this seriously, and it's still shticked and a joke. And people, you know, some people are going to lap it up because quality doesn't matter. They just want to see things. They want to buy toys. That's fine. To me, ultimately, the art has to matter. The story has to matter. I'm not going to waste my time, you know. And this every second they go past the original trilogy, they do irrevocable damage to Star Wars forever. Cannot be repaired. There's nothing they can do. They can wait 10 years. They can wait 20 years. If they put it on ice for a few years and bring it back in a whole new way, sure, it could be successful, but it will never be what Disney wanted it to be. Disney paid $4 billion to make billions. And right now, they're not making shit because it's going on a streaming service that's not profitable. So they are literally flushing fucking money down the toilet every time they put out a Star Wars. It's not going to theater where they could actually make some money back. Right now, they're paying themselves for products. So they can't license this shit out, and it's going on Disney Plus, which is losing, what, $500 million a quarter minimum. So, yeah, it's just costing them money. I don't see how much longer this can go on. And, like, you know, after Obi-Wan, I think most people were done. Did anybody really think Ahsoka, people are going to give a shit about Ahsoka? And they're going to come out with, oh, this is the highest rated this and that. It'll be forgotten in a month. Completely forgotten. Imagine Star Wars being forgettable, Chris.
I know. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, it's sad. But I'm over it. I'm so over it. So I can watch this and just kind of laugh. And, wow. I didn't like Sabine in Rebels. I really don't like her in live action. So Humunculus Pride says, love you, Gary. Thank you. He's been a member for 2 months. Mr. Innocent for 2 Canadian pesos said Sabine punched a robot. Yeah, that's right. Sabine punched a robot and it reacted like it was a person, Chris.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It probably would have hurt. Does Sabine have I mean, she's a Mandalorian, but they don't have superpowers. You know, like punching something solid metal would probably hurt.
Yeah.
But she punched a robot. It was originally probably supposed to be a person, and they just made it a robot later.
Okay, obviously we're talking spoilers, but as pointed out in this thread, because I was just pissed off like everybody else, and I felt like, well, now I can be pissed off with everyone. He pointed out that in, episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, they stick their lightsabers into, a part of a spaceship hull that begins to corrode and melt from the heat. Did Sabine wouldn't her guts be cooked? Like it was.
Yeah, I think they're trying to say it's cauterizing the wound, but if it's going to cook metal, what is it? It will do the same thing to the human body. She would have died instantly.
Right. Like none of it makes any sense. It's something now that happens. It's basically made one of the coolest, original ideas from Star Wars, the idea of a lightsaber. It's made it sort of a pointless weapon if you're not going to use it to chop off limbs. I just think that like the fact that you have lightsabers and not once in the sequel trilogy did we see anyone lose a limb. I mean, that was the thing that like I remember as a kid seeing Empire Strikes Back in a theater and being shocked and thinking, my favorite character, Luke, doesn't have a hand. Sure, he got a robot hand. It's fine at the end. But like the idea, the concept was just so bizarre to me. And then when it's revealed that Darth Vader has, bionic limbs, obviously from something that happened to him beyond being, scarred from,
Mustafar. Yeah.
Mustafar, which we didn't know it was called Mustafar.
No, we didn't. We just heard they battled near like a lake of lava. That was
lake of lava and volcanoes.
Yep.
Which the image in your head, I mean, this is maybe part of the problem is that the adventures and the things we've made up in our head about what Star Wars sequels could have been are so much better than what we got. It's kind of pathetic.
You had an entire generation imagining this for a decade, over a decade. Yeah, they came up with better ideas.
They all did. Dude, I came up with better ideas when I was playing with the toys in my sandbox.
Yeah.
And that was back when we played with toys, took them out of the package, didn't give a shit. I've still got my die-cast metal, one of the few things that survived, a die-cast metal Millennium Falcon, and I haven't cleaned it once.
Ooh.
Covered in dirt.
Ew. I mean, great. I remember, that die-cast metal Millennium Falcon, I played with that. That was one of my favorite Star Wars toys because you could just take it anywhere and just, when you're driving on with your parents, you're bored in the grocery store, the Millennium Falcon's just flying through space. It's freaking great.
Yeah, so good.
Dude, she should have died instantly. We got a lightsaber duel between 2 women, Chris. That was fucking terrible. It was like legit awful. Like,
yeah.
Disney, you put all this fucking money, you want to choreograph these action scenes, train these women. So here's another thing that's a problem. They're handling women like they're just these really fragile creatures who can't be trained, who can't have violence committed them in a piece of art where violence happens and it's supposed to add gravitas and add to the character and be part of the hero's journey or whatever. Bad things are supposed to happen. Yes, a woman will get smacked. If you want a woman to be a protagonist hero, you can't not have her be hit. And if she's going to be all going up against dudes, well, every time, even in the Rebel Moon trailer, we have, these like little women beating the shit out of big guys. And unless they have fucking superpowers, like unless they're all Buffy or Wonder Woman, it doesn't make any sense. It's pretty stupid. So it kills the verisimilitude. But man, go out and train these 2 chicks so they have this badass lightsaber duel. And it's another one. It's another clumsy one in the fucking dark, and it was terrible. It was terrible. So there you go. You got your first all-female lightsaber duel, light scissoring.
Oh my God.
Which would have been way more interesting. Oh, well. Oh, well. Oh, well. We could do this entire podcast like they delivered the dialogue. I could go, hello, Chris. And then I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you respond.
Hey, Gary, we should talk about Ahsoka. Oh, my God. I can't do that.
She is strong-willed, like you.
I think, was it someone else I saw in my feed? It might have been that Star Wars girl, Anna, was talking about just watching it at double speed and how annoying it was, the show.
It was annoying at regular speed, so I'm guessing it's doubly annoying at double speed.
Right.
But that's how I'm going to watch it when it's a little secret to when I review. Thank God for double speed, and Netflix builds it in, which is great.
But no, I think the complaint was Disney doesn't allow you to do double speed.
It does not. It does not. You have to get creative.
Yeah.
And you can get creative. You can get creative if you have a PC. So I thought it was. Is it the worst thing from Disney Star Wars? It's not the worst thing from yet. Show ain't over yet. Is it pretty freaking bad? Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I haven't scratched the surface, dude. Some of Sabine's lines are so fucking like self-congratulatory, cringe, Disney girl boss, fucking SJW shit. I'm pretty resilient. It's like, oh my God. You know what? There's no humility with these characters. Without humility, people aren't likable. But the problem is, like, Hollywood doesn't know what that is anymore. Like every girl acts like an actress and an actress and a producer in Hollywood. That and they treat each other like fucking dog shit. And they all try to talk like a Joss Whedon dialogue now, which they do. And they think that's power. It's fucking annoying. Nobody wants to be around you. Nobody. When can't be a little self-deprecating and you're like, I'm super important. Didn't you know that? Oh my God. You know what? It's Rachel Zegler. It's the Rachel Zegler syndrome. We'll call it that. She's got it. Sabine's got it. Oh, and dyed hair. And I mentioned it last night. Doesn't it feel super dated? Like when she did that, like when she came to Sabine at the end, I'm like, oh, it's 2016. Like I know Star Wars was made in the 70s, but it doesn't feel like it. Aside from some feathered hair, you wouldn't fucking know. You could think it's the 80s. And remember, at the time when we saw that movie, it looked like something that was made 40 years in the future. Like nothing looked like that movie. It was like, what the fuck? The closest thing was 2001: A Space Odyssey. Closest thing as far as effects and verisimilitude and how serious they took it, took the craft of making it. But no, I mean, dude, Logan's Run came out, 2 years before Star Wars? Flash Gordon came out 2 years after Star Wars? Now, Logan's Run and Flash Gordon both look like a movie made in the 70s, right? And I love both those movies to death, by the way. But then compare them to Star Wars. It's not even close. So now we have, Star Wars looking like Logan's Run did in the 70s, except not nearly as good. Disney, there is no sanctuary. Not from us. All right. We're going to read some soups. Want to read some soup?
Do it. Let's do it.
Let's answer some questions. Do you think they could remake $1 Million Baby? Michael Evans. They would with a trans.
Yeah.
That's going to be my answer with everything. Do you think they could remake? Yes, with the trans.
Yeah.
Force-sensitive plot armor and wombs says, I am Merkin for 5 British pounds. Yeah, none of these women are having babies. Getting stabbed in the stomach. Well, they have another ovary, but whatever. Space ovaries. Why is every Star Wars show named for a character, not about the title character, but instead of the side character? John Neeson for $4.99. That is a very good point. Obi-Wan was about Reva and Leia, and Ahsoka's about Sabine. Solo wasn't about Solo. Yeah.
I'll say this: this is how low effort Star Wars has been since. I mean, the two major things that have happened is one, Star Wars has been turned into a girl brand when it was clearly a boy brand. I'm not saying there weren't fans that are women. Plenty of female Star Wars fans, and that's great, and they are welcome. And there are plenty of great female Star Wars characters, but it was always a boy brand.
Yeah, Disney.
Men.
Disney is Frozen. Like that is
Yeah.
perfect for Disney. That is a
Yes.
that I mean, like that is the Barbie crowd. That is your crowd, Disney.
Yes, 100%. And it's just become that, and it's just thoroughly frustrating, and it's incredibly low effort. I remember when one of my favorite logos. I remember when I first saw it. It was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and they had the Star Wars sort of went around the logo. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it sort of surrounded it in a way. The logos to Star Wars was like this sort of frame around the words "The Empire Strikes Back," Episode 5. I mean, just like so. And when you saw the logos, I remember when the logos debuted, or like the titles debuted for the sequel trilogy, they were also just, who gives a shit? They never pushed the episode thing. They wanted to get rid of that, and they diminished it. It was in the opening crawl, and that's it. It was never referred to that way, right? Like I was referred to it that way because it was a continuing story.
Yeah.
And you would see just the low effort. I remember when they announced the title of the Han Solo movie was just Solo.
I know. It's like
how lame this is. These are temporary titles for projects that are used internally at studios, like the Solo project, and they're so freaking lazy. They don't research. I mean, the titles for some of the paperbacks for the Han Solo.
Oh, dude, those first 3 paperbacks that came out back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Those are great. Use one of those fucking titles. But they're like, people won't know Solo. We won't know Han Solo. But you're right. It's lazy. It's lazy and risk-averse market research that came up with the brilliant title. I largely do not like shows. I think it makes more sense for a TV show like Columbo. But movies that are just names, like John Carter. It's John Carter of Mars. Okay? It's John Carter of Mars. Terrible. Like even Jack Reacher. Reacher makes a bit more sense for a show, but it's a bad name for a fucking movie. I just never like names. There's no imagination in that. I agree, Chris. Real creative. I know, dude. Taking the map from Treasure Planet in Ahsoka. Laugh my ass off. I swear to God, if they make a portal that can go across space and shit, I'm gonna lose it. Oh, they already did. They mentioned it. They specifically mention space and time, Chris.
Yes.
Space and time. So we are going to get time travel. You would need to if you're traveling between galaxies. So Thrawn and Ezra are in a completely different galaxy. Right. And even in Star Wars, that would take a long time to get to. You can't just get there by hyperspace. And they hinted at that. What Night Sisters? Is that what it's called? Star Wars fans? Night Sisters? Morgan's a Night Sister, which is like the Sisters of Karn or the Bene Gesserit. It's just some all-female order in an all-female show. God, I'm sick of it. I'm so fucking sick of it. R.I.P. Jason Sandula. Is that what happened to Hera? I guess Hera's kid will show up later.
Right.
Kanan and Hera's kid. No mention of Kanan. Mention of Ezra. No Zeb. It's Zeb, right?
Well, they mention Ezra in the show.
They do. They show him.
Yeah. Well, this was the thing I laughed when she's sadly looking at the mural of the characters from the cartoon drawn in cartoon style in the Star Wars universe.
It's so cringe.
I laughed. I was like,
too.
Wait, is this to remind people that
it is.
There's
your fill-in. There's your background for Rebels, Chris.
It was so bad. It was like a screensaver. I'm looking at that going like, that's bad art in the Star Wars universe,
dude.
Right?
It was like the cover of a children's book of Rebels that you pass out in kindergarten that you color. Yes. It's so bad. Oh, Disney. Oh, Disney. And you're right. Like, if you don't know the Rebels lore, and I don't know it all, and I don't care. Paul Chato did a great review today, and I picked up the relationship problems because I knew them from Rebels. I don't know how many people are actually going to pick them up because they don't flesh. Why is Ahsoka and Sabine? Why are they mad at each other?
Yeah, why?
Why? 2 episodes we don't explain. So I don't know if you watched all the review last night or watch it. Yeah, you said you watched.
I didn't watch Paul's review, but it's in my queue.
I brought up later my review because I watched the first 2 episodes of Daredevil before Ahsoka, which didn't help Ahsoka at all, by the way. And I broke down in that review like how tight that first Daredevil episode is. It is probably one of the best premiere episodes of a TV series ever made. It sets the table. You know everything. You know a movie's worth of information in 1 hour. By the time you are set, like at the end of that episode, the music builds up and Daredevil's like hitting the punching bag and they're doing the montage of the hand, like, oh, we're going to take over this part. You know, they don't say a fucking word, by the way. You can tell that they want a piece of real estate. You know, Madame Gal like blinds her people to to enslave them to make drugs. The owl is moving the numbers. The Russian guys are stealing kids. And, the 2 people who tried to kill Karen Page are fucking both dead, and this big bad is back there just like covering all his tracks with absolute ease, and you're like, oh shit, this is awesome, I'm ready to go. And then I watched 2 episodes of Ahsoka, and I'm like, they chase some balls to find a map, and a couple of people are mad at each other, and I don't know why. Disney sucks.
Oh yeah.
One of the show I just mentioned, Daredevil, was canceled, by the way. Fucking canceled. Canceled. It's a crime. It's a crime against imagination that show was canceled. Oh, and then Disney doesn't bring everybody back who was involved in the first season. Like back up the truck, get Drew Goddard, Stephen DeKnight, bring them back. They got Stephen DeKnight or Stephen Knight. I get there's 2 different ones. They got one of them in the house to do Star Wars. Have him do fucking Daredevil. Oh well. George, critiques aside, built his characters through dialogue. That's why Luke and Han sound different. Why Anakin and Obi-Wan sound different. But Filoni speaks for his characters, and they all sound the same and bland. Says Holocron Jedi for $20. I think that's a good assessment right there. Very good assessment. He's also a cartoon director who cannot direct actors.
Yeah.
Like Chris mentioned it right in the beginning. George really pushed his actors to at least sound natural, even though George, not known for it, but back in the early days when he was more Artur and less billionaire, he could do it. The cooking oh, that's right. The cooking show should be gourmet.
Yes.
That's it. Gourmet. Hail. Thank you, Tall, Dark, and Gruesome, for reminding us of that. There you go. Disney transitioning Star Wars from boy brand to girl brand is so on point for them. It really is. The Morak for $4.99. I agree. Sabine punched a robot. We got that one. Villa Idiot for $4.99. There's a video called To the Death by Corridor that's fairly impressive lightsaber duel with more realistic tone. Yeah, the fan movies are like way better in a lot of cases.
They are.
They really are.
The fan films are so good.
Star Wars Theory made a really good one. Sorry, go on.
No. I just Troops is one that I remember from Kevin Rubio, which is that was the one that really kicked things off because the effects with off-the-shelf software. This is in the late 90s. And it was incredible. Troops is so good. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Look that one up. But the films, they put so much into it. They take it seriously. It makes me sad when I look at it. Like what Star Wars has become under Disney is just
sad.
It's sad. And when you see the fans doing better stuff, it is sort of.
Well, and that was happening with Star Trek too, and they shut it down. CBS shut down the fan films. Star Trek Continues is freaking brilliant. Vic Mignon, hail. So we know there's Project Egg Roll out there. Project Egg Roll. Well, now there's Project Taco. Project Taco says, Mr. Gary, I like your channel. Thank you. That's exactly how he wrote it. Thank you, Project Taco. Mr. Gary. That's what some of my coworkers called me at Toyota. They go, Mr.
Really?
Mr. Gary.
Mr. Gary.
Yes.
There you go.
Good guys they were. Chris Fredericks for $9.99 says, Gary, I'm thinking of selling most of my Weta Lord of the Rings statues. Why? But why? Statues, if you're interested, next time you're in San Diego, would love to see them go to you. Also have a United Cutlery, I can talk, museum collection, Glambring. Oh, yes. Cheers. Email me, Gary@nerdrotic.com. Melissa's going to try to hide the email, but I'll make sure to look for it, Chris.
Good.
Hell yeah. I'll be back in LA in early December in SoCal for LA Comic Con.
Yes.
That's going to be fun, dude.
Dude.
That was a fun con, too. That was a really good con.
It's super fun. We should
it's way
we
better
gotta
than it
talk
used to
about
be.
doing an LA meetup then.
Yeah.
During the con.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe an FNT panel.
That would be rad.
Like that. So yeah, they're going to be reaching out pretty soon to me. They do like a solicitation for panels. Last year I had 3, but what I'll do is I'll talk to the program director at LA Comic Con to see about like maybe Ripa, like doing some panels. I'll just send the stuff off to Ripa's people. He can deal with it.
Yeah. We'll get it together. Unlimited Power is a member of Jaloja. Says, where are even our Ahsoka's ears? Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, she, like, Rosario Dawson looked good as the character. Like,
yeah,
she looked fine. I don't know if she can't emote under that makeup, but she doesn't emote at all. And Ahsoka has tons of personality in the cartoon, like tons. Like it was annoying at first, and she becomes a little more endearing as time goes on for a kid's cartoon. And I saw her in Daredevil. She's playing the night nurse. She's fucking great. She's great. I like Rosario Dawson.
I do too.
Yeah,
I like her.
I think for the longest time, she was the queen of the geeks, you know? She was in a lot of nerd stuff. Sin City, Clerks 2, even though I can't stand Clerks 2. She's in a ton of stuff. Daredevil. 29 months already. Can't wait to see you in the UK. How is the Stargate coming along? Hail to the Fellowship. It's on pause right now. Jens Anderson of 2RE. Thank you for being a member of 29 months. I'm taking on the wheel of time. And now, you know, it's all freaking Star Wars in my life. I can't believe it, Chris. So, you know, I don't blame Jeremy for not wanting to watch it. It's just like, he just like, my God, it won't die. This corpse is rotting, but it's just still moving, you know? Oh, it's just horrific. So yeah, I'm kind of going back and I'm trying to refresh my memory on Heir to the Empire, which the last time I read that, I think it was the year 2000. Like the Twin Towers were still standing the last time I read Heir to the Empire. They're definitely borrowing some stuff from it, but this first 2 episodes, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't like a total ripoff of it, but they're setting Ahsoka up to take Luke's story for sure. Absolutely.
Feels like it. Yeah. Also, where are Han, Luke, and Leia in this universe? This is how long after Return of the Jedi, the events of Return of the Jedi? Or what?
This is a few years. Yeah, they said a few years. They're saying it's been years. So 5 or 6 or 7, kind of like within the Mando timeline, right?
Yeah.
Because it has to be, because it's after Mandalorian season 2, because Morgan and Ahsoka face off in that, and then she doesn't kill her when she should have, and gets a prisoner and decides to just leave her on a ship with a bunch of dolts. And the minute I saw that white guy in the very beginning of the first episode, I'm all, he dead. I even wrote it in my notes. I'm all, he dead. Where is it? You're not going to be able to read my chicken scratch here, but I definitely said dead right there. Dead. That's the first line of my Ahsoka thing.
Oh my God.
And he died. And the whole crew did. It was so freaking dumb. But I think it's been pretty well established that everybody in the Disney Star Wars universe has a room temperature IQ. So I missed the Force. I missed when the Force was midichlorians, says Goji. Got him for $10. That's how bad things have gotten. Finally set up my channel. First vid's up. Hail all, says Droner for $1.99. Hey, good luck. Just make content. It's not going to be good at first. And if it is, then you're Robot Head or Mahler. You know, like those guys like kind of came out the gate. But my stuff wasn't that great. Dr. Death. I love Rosario, but she is horribly miscast. Yeah, she's just not. She looks the part, but doesn't feel the part. And none of these women had chemistry with each other at all. At all. And like separately, they've all, especially Elizabeth, what's her face, and Rosario have done good things in other movies, right?
Yes.
Every stab in the gut is a knife in George's back, says Three Bear Thunder. Yes, indeed. Some friends of mine had a movie release yesterday on a streaming platform, Pig Lady, a slasher based on true events. Give it a watch. Precious. So it's called, and that's from Worm for $5. It's called Pig Lady. All right.
I wonder if we covered it already on FilmThreat. We're pretty much, you know, we're in the loop on all the smaller indie stuff. So I'm checking. No, tell them to go to filmthreat.com, click on submit, and submit the movie for review. We get hundreds of movies submitted a month. We cover probably about half the films. It's just we do the best we can. And that's with 30 writers contributing stuff.
A universe is the death of great movies. I'm praying they don't try to make a Godfather verse. Domami. Eric John Pizza Art for $9.99. You just put that in the ether, dude. So they are definitely working on a multiple TV series that will take place in the Godfather verse.
Is that real?
No, but now that he brought it up, it will be.
It seems like it will be. Like, why they just pay a licensing fee to Coppola.
To Coppola,
they get his blessing so they can put his name on it. It's just branding. It's a.
And he needs the money for that Megalopolis fucking movie he's making. So he needs the money. So yeah, I've got the whole story down. Yeah, that you just made it happen. Some things just get willed to happen in the universe when you bring them up. Don't bring them up.
Yep. Oh my God.
Hey, I want to ask you a question. Is all art subjective?
I mean, I think, look, there are people that are going to love Ahsoka. They're going to love it. But, you know, kindergartners eat paste. And sometimes, I mean, and also it's just interesting.
And Play-Doh, yes.
Look at other cultures, right? Like, you know, even food can be subjective, right? So, for example, there was this Oscar-winning documentary. I covered this on FilmThreat years ago. There was an Oscar-winning documentary about this place in Japan where they serve children dolphin meat. It's considered sushi. There's tons of dolphins in this particular area of Japan. They hunt them, and then they give the dolphin meat to kids at these schools in this one area. And we're looking at it as Americans, like, oh, these are dolphins, but we're judging another culture. That's just what they eat there, right? That's their food, and they've been doing it for centuries. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there is like, but I don't know, like I love like bad trauma movies, you know, like some consider trauma films to be bad. I think they're fun as hell. Like, I don't know, like,
I think there is some, I know Robert's been talking about this. I think there's art that's objectively good. Like, even if you're not into it, you can go, listen, a lot of people like The Godfather. A lot of people like Gone with the Wind. A lot of people like Star Wars. You know, a lot of people like the Mona Lisa. These are objectively good things. There can be some dipshit that can go pick it apart, you know, but like, you know, by all the metrics of the world, they're popular. Like Spider-Man 2, people can pick it apart. Has at the time some of the highest critic scores for a movie. Had some of the highest audience scores for a movie. People were talking about Best Picture. Like it possibly being nominated for best. It's a good movie, you know? So like, I think some stuff is objectively good and objectively bad. And then the rest is subjective. It's a good argument. It's hard to prove either way. That's why it's a good one to have. You know, kind of like Blade Runner used to be until Ridley Scott fucked it up. Like Blade Runner was this open-ended. Was Rick Deckard a replicant? Was he not? Does it make sense for the story? It was a great debate that raged in the nerd community over, 20 years or so until Ridley Scott came out and said, no, but I agree with Harrison Ford, who says he's not a fucking robot. No, he's not. Because then it would just be robots meeting robots. It's dumb. And it takes, it's, I hate that argument. Razor Fist made a great video on it. Go watch it. I agree with Razor Fist.
Nice.
Combat-themed interpretive dance. That's Fopeasy for $2. That's what it was. Combat-themed interpretive dance. That's what it's called from now on. That is what it's labeled. I deem it labeled.
Put that in your video, Gary. You got to write that down.
Oh,
combat-themed interpretive dance.
Combat.
Add it to the list, man.
I know my writing is fucking horrible, but I can read it for the most part. It's good chicken scratch.
I'm the same.
Yep. I can read it. It helps me. Thank you, Fopeasy. Big Worm for $10. Is Ahsoka a perfect example of bad writing? Hacking the droid. She gets it, hooks up a random tool with no interface, and instantly gets the information. TikTok level instant gratification writing. Big Worm. TikTok level instant gratification. That's what Disney is now. We have lots of self-affirming that a trope of fan fiction and fan fiction poisoning modern fiction, particularly in comics, is the women constantly self-affirming themselves or affirming each other, like how great they are.
Right.
Oh God, I even saw. Oh, it's on my phone. Listen to how precious these fucking actors are. Okay. It's on my phone. It was an image. It was Ron Perlman talking about the strike because he's a fucking dipshit. I'll find it. I'll find the headline. There it is. From Yahoo. Here, I'm trying. I want to make sure I don't dox anything. I wish I could show this picture on there, but I can't right now. So it'll just be me. There's Ron Perlman, right? Look, for one, it looks like he's got tiny hands and he's holding the sign. It's actually somebody holding the sign behind him, but he's got like tiny hands.
Oh no.
But the headline says, hang on. I got to bring you back. There we go. Ron Perlman calls AMPTP back to the table. You motherfuckers tell us how much you appreciate us.
It's so dumb. Oh my God.
Fucking that guy.
This is all these unscripted actors. I mean, all the unscripted actors, when you get to know their real personalities, it just makes me sad. And I feel like this, I had an actor, because we were talking on about the Rachel Zegler thing on our live stream, Alan and I, on Friday. And we were talking about Zegler and just how like actors aren't particularly political. They just sort of, take their finger, see where the wind is blowing, and then that's the opinion that they have. They're pretty much empty vessels, and they will say whatever it takes to get a job. They care more about getting a job and getting hired than anything else. And this one actor was offended and got very angry. And I'm like, but then he replied to me and said, but you're not wrong. That's pretty, he admitted like that's kind of, a lot of actors are kind of like that. They'll just like parrot an opinion because that's what will get them work. Right? Like, I bet you could test that theory out.
That probably is. We'll be testing the theory out. All these people who have been calling for like the WGA went out and is like asking for government regulation to come and break up the companies. Well, what happens when you work out a deal and you're sitting at the negotiation table and then Apple's like, because it'll be like by the way, this strike will contribute to making fewer companies, you fucking morons, you idiots, you window lickers. You're going to contribute to the problem. There will be fewer companies that are going to gobble up all the rest, And now you're going to be sitting in a meeting going, man, I really wish I hadn't have said publicly that I want Apple to listen. I think some laws on the books should be enforced. I don't think Disney should have ever been able to buy Fox, but they allowed it to happen. You want to know why? Because all the fucking politicians that are in office were backed by these giant companies, paid off by these giant companies. So they're by the way, all the politicians, most actors, adult pretenders in Hollywood, completely back people like Gavin fucking Newsom. Ugh. You get what you vote for, fuckers. Don't be asking for anybody. You know, the people who would break stuff up are the people you vilify every day on Twitter. Those are the people who probably come in and break up some of those companies. And I'm not a fan of, you got to have some government relation, you got to have some government oversight on some things. I understand that. I don't have to like it, but I understand it. I understand it in certain cases. But when it comes to pretend and the companies that deal in pretend, work it out yourself. A fan-made fight scene between Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope is better than anything Star Wars put out in 10 years. I agree.
Oh, is that the one they redid?
Yes.
Obi-Wan and Kenobi, and they made it brutal. They made it like
really good.
I've seen that. It's so good. I actually really like that. So
anyone that supports Filoni is a Filoni brony. Is a Phil Brony. Sorry, Phil Brony. Oh, that's so good. Also, you can watch the Republican debates, but I suggest a better puppet show at 9 p.m. with yours truly and WDW Pro and more. We're now making money with YouTube. Well, Floral from Under a Rock for 20 Canadian pesos. Hail to you. Phil Brony. That's so good. I will not be watching the Republican debates. I'll probably watch the interview with Tucker. If I'm not working on a video, I'll probably be working on a video.
I might watch the debates, Gary.
But
I like debates.
I didn't point this out, but it's obvious. Ahsoka moved its time up to move away from Trump. Remember, it was supposed to come out today.
Really?
It was supposed to come out today.
Oh, wow.
And they put it a day early, and it's because of fucking Trump. They didn't want to go up against Trump. They didn't want to go up against the Republican debates.
Wow.
More Trump. Republican debates. I think more people are watching this live stream. They're going to watch Republican debates. But the Tucker Trump stuff, if anything, it'll be funny. So,
yeah.
It'll be funny. I think I might be able to get to, finally use it in one of my videos soon. Vagina. I've been trying to get that in.
It's perfect for Ahsoka. You have to have a vagina quote.
You do. Also in Ahsoka, everything is pristine and clean, no weathering or wear. If you watch Adam Savage, that is the art of prop sets. This is so cheap. Yes. I agree.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm not the only one that was bothered by that. It's like, this looks like I just bought it at Comic-Con. You know what I mean? Like everything in the universe just looks too clean. I don't know if that was a choice. Like, we're going to get away from the dingy, dirty, old version because this is the new universe. It's the Republic. It's like, nah, I think things would still be dirty and whatnot. So it had to be a conscious choice.
Daniel Hodge for $10 says Blue Beetle and Solo got more dislike than they deserve because the bad taste from the last movie in their franchises. That definitely contributed to that, but I'll say for Solo, it's a shitty movie. It's a shitty movie that like destroys the character of Han Solo and he gets bossed around by a girl boss. I will actually lean more to Blue Beetle. If Blue Beetle didn't have its adherence to the message, it would have just been an average superhero movie looking like it was made in 2004. And I think Blue Beetle is actually a pretty good example of superhero fatigue. Fatigue, which is absolutely here. Without question. And we have evidence. It's all out there. But I mentioned my video. I go up briefly, but you'll see it in my video. But Blue Beetle, I think, yes, it wasn't the fucking hurricane. I think it's the MCU, DC's previous flops, James Gunn coming out and saying they canceled the universe. Too many bad movies have all contributed to superhero fatigue, to where a movie that is doing way worse. Blue Beetle probably should have done better. Flash should have done better. but it didn't because superhero fatigue. Well, it's a bad movie. It doesn't matter. People are tired of fucking superhero movies. And the MCU played its part. Like Marvel damaged the whole, I can't call it a genre, the medium of superhero films, right? Because it's multiple genres. It's destroyed it. People are going to roll their eyes at superhero films. They're already starting, but it's going to get bad in the next 3 years. Like, even if it looks kind of good, they're like, oh, fuck, I'm so... Like, James Gunn's Superman is here. A lot of people are going to go, I don't care. I don't care.
That is probably going to happen.
Yep.
And it's going to underperform, and it may, in fact, be very good.
Yep. Hey, the Batman. A lot of people like the Batman. It underperformed massively.
I think the Batman, the Robert Pattinson, that should be the TV show.
Yeah,
That's the
I
TV
agree.
show.
But
and you've got different villains, then you've got sort of a season arc. You've been saying it for years, and I agree with you, Gary. I don't care what Bruce Wayne's butler did
in the 60s.
In some implied past that he was a raconteur and an adventurer. Like, who cares? Give me a Batman TV show. The Batman TV show from the 1960s, 1966, Adam West, we're still talking about it. That's how good that show was.
Yes.
I have that box set.
There's been so many Superman shows, and they've all been successes to varying degrees. They've all been successes, had multiple seasons for the most part. Maybe even the Superboy syndicated show in the 90s had a couple seasons. Like, so if Superman can do well on TV, why can't Batman? You don't even have Batman flying. It's way cheaper. You know, it's never made sense. And it's because Warner Brothers has been too protective of Batman over the years. You know, believe it or not, they have been. They're like, we need to see him for the big stuff. It's like, no, put him in a TV show.
You can have the TV version, Robert Pattinson, more detective, more, just you could keep making a smaller show. I would like that.
Daredevil.
You could even probably,
is the best Batman show.
Yes, he is. But then you can have you can have a Batman there's a cinematic Batman and a TV Batman. Just do that. You can have two Superman.
Two different worlds.
Let James Gunn do a Superman TV show with his new cast.
Yep.
Okay. Let him do it with the new cast, and then Henry Cavill if you can have two. I mean, and who knows if that Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson, if that's ever going to happen. Probably not at this stage. But if you can have two Batman, you can have two Supermen. You had Henry Cavill right there. And within months, that was so jerked around. It's just
so terrible, Chris.
Turned people off.
But the Batman was however you and I felt about it, I think the third act sucked. I loved the first 20 minutes of it, though. I was like, holy crap. They're actually going to go into this. But it just fizzles out because it's a Jar Jar Abrams. It's one of the better Jar Jar Abrams disciple, but it's still a Jar Jar Abrams disciple, Matt Reeves. So no faith. And they put $200 million into it, another $100 million into the marketing. I have already talked about for a year now on this channel, having talked to a person who has worked on multiple superhero projects that you have watched, told me they are massively underreporting budgets. Not just kind of underreporting, massively underreporting. And they gave me numbers. They said, well, depending on the project, it's $50 to $150 million they are underreporting. Then we find out Doctor Strange costs $300 million. We find out Flash, which I said from day one was the most, this person told me it's the most expensive movie ever made. Not for Warner Brothers, ever made. So that $300 million is still low. It's still low.
Wow.
It lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Barbie, drop in the bucket. Barbie can make $2 billion and it won't make up for this year for Warner Brothers. They're fucked. Mattel doing great, but not Warner Brothers. So I think one of the best examples of superhero fatigue was the Batman. However you felt about it, it was a well-received movie, and it didn't even sniff $1 billion, which they were expecting. That led to a DC reboot. It wasn't all the DCEU stuff. Snyder was already gone at that point. The Batman, if the Batman was a success, do you think they would announce another Batman? No. They would try to integrate that into the DCEU, but they're not. They're making it a separate thing, and they said Matt Reeves can have a second film basically to appease him, probably for political capital. We've seen that happen before. But now that the money's running out, I think, I'll agree with Tom from Midnight's Edge on this one now. I think it might be in question. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see how well that Penguin series does. Ugh. Should we add Blue Beetle to the Hillary kill list? Yes. No, Professor Savage Dad for $2. That was the weakest excuse I've ever fucking heard.
Right.
DC doesn't have money since Aquaman. Will the sequel suffer from it? Should WB move to Max? Yeah. Yes. You should get people who worked on Game of Thrones to make a Batman show. Not Dan and Dave, but like the current one. Get Ryan Condell to come in, or get some of that production staff. They know what they're doing. Our Norwegian Kryptonian. Aquaman 2 also add $100 million to its budget. Minimum.
Wow.
It's going to lose shit tons of money.
We still haven't seen a trailer.
Nope. Well, no, I think, have we? Maybe. No.
Aquaman 2? No trailer
No
yet.
trailer yet, yeah. Oh, I think it'll get delayed.
I think so?
It'll, yeah. I think
it's pretty, that's coming.
Could Netflix have kept Daredevil show 3 seasons legally, or Disney had the rights to take it? Did they willingly give it up? Disney had the rights to take it. They licensed it out. As far as I know. It sucks that you can buy Daredevil season 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. It doesn't look as good as the 4K UHD. I wish they would do 4K versions of Daredevil. I would most definitely buy it. But you can get Steelbox Blu-rays. Can't get season 3 unless you look for bootlegs. It's out there. But yeah, unfortunately, you have to watch it on frickin' Disney Plus. And they're going to crack down on password sharing pretty soon.
Oh, they already have.
They have?
Yeah, it's weird. It has to be same household. This is why I got rid of I had cable for a minute, but I use I don't know if I should admit this, I use YouTube TV because I can watch it anywhere, but the Spectrum, they make you have to be on the same Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
You can't watch me. So I can't share but my YouTube TV, I can share it with up to 4 other people.
I signed up to YouTube TV. I mean, it's YouTube. I'm on
YouTube
we're
TV.
On YouTube. Yeah. And it's just like Amazon Prime, except it's not giving Amazon money. And like Google's any better, but at least I'm here. So, and you're here. My friends are here. And I think that YouTube Red money contributes to my friends. Very minuscule, but it does. So I do the Red Premium. I call it its own version. But I use YouTube TV, and now it's got NFL Sunday Ticket. So I got that for my son. I got it. Yeah, I got it for my kid.
Did you get it too?
Yeah.
Well, you better tell Mrs. Nerdrotic. She was trying to shame me for getting it.
Oh, I'm not going to watch. My kid's going to watch football. I don't care.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Then.
Yeah. I'm just not going to release videos on Sunday now.
Right.
Unless it's really important. I'm not going to, it's the time I don't release videos on Sunday. Gary, I hear you, but listen to Eric July explain superhero fatigue. Of all the reasons people aren't watching, you think capes are one of them? Yeah. Now, yeah, because I think that cape you're talking about, Hot Dice, is a brand. It's a brand, and you're damaging the overall brand of superheroes. Yes, absolutely. It's people are just getting tired of it. There are reasons for the superhero fatigue. It's the chicken lays the egg. It does, right? What comes first doesn't matter. When the chicken lays the egg, there's a fucking egg there. So when bad movies, too many bad movies hurt your overall brand, it does affect it to the general populace, the general public. And they start rolling their eyes even at stuff that could potentially be good. I'll give you another example of superhero fatigue. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. It had a horrible first weekend. It had legs, but it didn't do as well as its predecessor. And it's a holdover. I mean, a lot of people liked it. And it did, but it didn't do $1 billion. You know how many Disney released superhero movies have made $1 billion since Endgame? We're not going to count Endgame, anything after Endgame. Zero. Zero. The $3 billion films, Joker, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. That's it.
Wow.
And but they're $1 billion film budgets for all of them. And I'm telling you, a large share of them didn't crack 700 million, 750 million. So yeah, superhero fatigue. There's too much stuff out there. There's too much bad stuff out there, and it's going to take away the desire from Hollywood. So fatigue can mean Hollywood's tired of it, and the general populace is getting tired of it. I'm always going to like superheroes. Never going to like. If I haven't got tired of them yet, I ain't going to get tired of them anytime soon. But most people are just, what we mentioned before. James Gunn's Superman could be great, but a lot of people are just going to go, oh, fuck, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I wish it weren't true. There's still a hunger for superheroes and comics and stuff, but that number is dwindling. It just is. And it's going to go back to being a niche, and that's where it belongs. That's where it belongs. Comics will be like vinyl, but I have listened to, I watch every one of Eric July's videos. Full-length Yellow for $9.99. Gary, you mentioned that Diz will redo the original trilogy one day. Yes. Well, JJ already did. You see, this is true. He did with The Force Awakens. You're not wrong. But I mean, they're going to redo the original trilogy. I've been saying that since they bought Star Wars.
Yeah, I've heard you say it, and I tend to agree with you.
All right.
I think it's going to happen eventually. It's going to be a point of controversy. And they're probably going to wait until after George Lucas passes away.
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
He's 80. I hope he lives forever. Yeah, he's close to 80. He's 80 now, folks. Late 70s or 80? 80.
Yeah.
I want him to live forever. 1,000 years. May he reign for 1,000 years.
Same.
But he did sell Star Wars to Disney. He is culpable. Guys, good news. The media can use COVID as an excuse again for something flops. Yay, says Lou D. I know. Lionsgate masking up on the second floor and the fifth floor, but not the fourth floor of their building is fucking retarded. Okay. It's so retarded.
I have a friend who works at Lionsgate, so I have to ask him.
Hit him up.
I'm going to hit him up.
So, we'll read one more super chat, and I'll give you my thoughts on that real quick. Warner Brothers had the blueprints of all the DC animated movies. You're right, and most of the TV shows are better than any live, and they made live action. You're right. With CGI, live action is really animated anyway. Why do they suck so much? Because when you get to the level of Hollywood, they just don't understand. They just simply don't understand, and more importantly, we don't have artists working there who have the desire to understand. Knowledge is power. The more you research, the more you know. That's why it's really good. Say, for example, Chris covers a lot of independent film. He could just react to independent films coming out and not watch them. But Chris goes to a movie almost every fucking day because it's his job and he loves it. So even if it's shitty TV, like if I'm going to talk... That's in that video. We can't show that video again. It's in my clip.
I've seen that. I know what you're talking about.
I shared it with you. God, it was funny.
Oh,
okay, real quick. They are talking, by the way. The producers in the WGA are meeting every week. They are talking now. And the big hang up apparently is the writer's room. It's not even AI. It's that mandated writer's room. According to some things, I don't care if you know more. Doesn't matter. But if they come out of this strike, and I don't think it's going to happen, folks, but if there are going to be lockdowns again, California is the most likely state for it to happen outside of New York. And if Hollywood goes right from a strike into COVID lockdowns, and more importantly, because they'll be allowed to work, back to their COVID restrictions that increased every single budget of everything they did 30%, they are fucked. They are.
Yeah.
And you will see half of every slate get canceled overnight. That's a big if, though. We don't know if they're going to lock down. I think some people will be dumb enough to try to lock people down. I wish you all the luck in the world, because some of us just won't fucking do it. I could get more behind superhero fatigue if there was only superhero movies bombing. It's bad movie fatigue. No, it's not bad movie fatigue. It's superhero fatigue. What you're seeing is the diminishing returns thanks to the oversaturation. It is definitely here. My video will be out. It's definitely here. And I think Blue Beetle bombed, but like I didn't like it, but it's like it's not as bad as fucking Ant-Man.
Right.
Like Ant-Man's fucking terrible. And you're seeing this eroding, and then I give you what's coming up. That has to be factored into superhero fatigue. What is lighting the fires under the fans? Deadpool 3, a gimmick movie that's basically going to be a parody of superheroes. It's not going to be an actual superhero movie. It's going to be a parody, and it's made by Disney Star Wars. James Gunn's Superman, which is probably going to be delayed. I give you a list of what has been shot and what is coming out. And please, that'll be the point where you go, okay, maybe that was a little superhero fatigue.
Yeah. For sure.
There is. I wish it weren't true, but it's dude, I cover Marvel. I mean, like, but like, I'm going to call it like I see it. They just put too much shit out that sucked, and it created superhero fatigue. So, Chris, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you, Glenthan, for $5. I do appreciate it. What do you got coming up, buddy?
Friday, we're gonna do our live stream for FilmThreat, 9 a.m. in the morning on Pacific time. Why do I do it at 9 in the morning on Fridays? It's because I cannot miss Friday Night Tights live. I have to watch it. So when I decided when can I thread the needle of doing a live, so I'm doing it Friday, and we're going to talk about Gran Turismo. And we have actually one of the drivers who actually won the competition, who was a Gran Turismo gamer who then became a race car driver. We also have that person as a guest on the show. We're also going to be talking about the new comedy coming out this weekend, described as a gay fight club teen raunchy comedy called Bottoms. I'm actually seeing it tonight.
Good luck. Is Alan going to be your date?
Yeah, Alan and I are going to go see it tonight, and watch the trailer. It actually looks pretty good. I
want you to do a little video of you two walking in the theater together as dates.
We'll do it. We'll do it tonight
with both your popcorn like on your lap.
No, I'll take a picture.
You guys reach. That'd be so funny.
We're seeing it at Idiots, which is cool. They just reopened. So
seeing Bottom with my bro.
Yeah, Bottom with Alan. No, yeah,
so funny.
100%. I'm doing that. Yes, we're meeting. We're gonna. But if you see the trailer for this movie, Bottoms, it's not what you think. The sort of gay aspect is like sort of a side thing that's kind of funny. It looks good. It actually looks entertaining.
I'll take your word for it, Chris. All right.
Okay, cool.
All right. I'm going to release a video in 1 hour.
And I'm going to watch it.
Thanks, buddy.
I can't wait.
I haven't even come up with a thumbnail concept yet, so I guess I better do that quick. But 1 hour, I'll release a video. Then I'm going to make an appearance on Open Bar tomorrow for a little bit. Then Friday Night Tights, we got Mahler. We got Benny Johnson. And hopefully we can fit somebody else. We gotta see. I gotta get on that.
Benny Johnson gonna watch Ahsoka?
That's part of the plan.
Good.
It's part of, but Benny will if he's got the time. Like he'll do it. Like he'll you know, Benny's a player, man. He'll do it. All right. Thanks everybody. If I missed one, we'll get it on the Super Chat Square up. Obviously, I'm X-ray girlless, so I can't do math right now. And this will be on Nerdrotic Live in a couple this evening sometime. If not, just hang on to the soon to be unlisted link. Thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and donation. We will see you next Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe to FilmThreat. Don't forget to buy Attack of the Doc if you haven't. It's available on all video streaming services, or you can get a physical copy.
Hell yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later.